Hello, welcome to Board Game Opinions. In this video we are playing Legacy of Dragonholt, which I'll tell you all about in just a moment. My name's Jonathan Hicks.
I'm Chantal Cointot.
David John Smith.
And Windle.
Now we've created characters. Effectively it's a kind of light role-playing game. In fact, I'll tell you what it says in the box. Legacy of Dragonholt is a cooperative narrative adventure for 1 to 6 players. I have no idea what that means, but we're going to find out. Effectively, we read some kind of brief rules introduction which explained some very basic rules. I'm not going to go over those now because there's really not a lot to say. As we play through, we'll explain what we're doing and it will become very obvious very quickly. But we have gone through the character creation process already. So we've all created a character, and before we jump into our adventure, probably the best thing to do is to explain who we are. Mark, do you want to start?
So I'm Kippers. I'm a cat. A cat folk sort of creature. I was once in the military after being a street cat sort of. I wanted to get out and have a better life, so I joined the military with money, and then I realised that the military is rubbish. So I became a highwayman, and I've got all the show and of being a highwayman cat thing. I'm athletic and that sort of stuff.
Okay, great. I am Nobble, the gnome thief. And there's a selection of skills actually. In fact, yes, now this is going to be useful for later. So if you just explain which skills you have, because that is going to be important.
Okay, I've gone for agility, athletics, archery, dueling, willpower, deception, and military.
Lots of skills then.
Yeah.
And stamina is the other important stat, isn't it?
Yes, so I'm stamina 10 because I've taken 7 skills. So you start at a base level of, what is it, 14?
So like there's a trade-off. Yeah. The more stamina you have, the fewer skills you have, and vice versa. Right, so it's Nobble, gnome thief. I'm 42 years old, and my skills are stealth, dueling, streetwise, thievery, as you might expect being a thief, and reasoning. And so my stamina is 14 because I don't have that many skills. Now, I trained as a thief. I went to the whole Thieves Guild thing, but unfortunately, I flunked out and didn't manage to complete the course. Now, I still feel like I'm an adequate thief, at least, but the main issue I had was my honesty. I'm fundamentally honest, which is a real issue as a thief. So I do take issue to being called a thief. Although I'm a thief by class, I'm not a thief. So I take things occasionally, but only ever from bad people who've stolen them in the first place or something like that. So I don't steal from good people. In general, I don't thieve at all. Just take things when they happen to be lying around and no one else has owned up to them. All right, so other important things. Personality, I'm quiet, but I'm looking for companions. I feel a bit lonely, and I'd like to go on an adventure with some friends. So I found some friends. Well, at least I'm hoping they're going to be friends. We'll see what they're like. Physical description we can add to as well. I'm knobbly. Nobble, the knobbly gnome. I'm all elbows and knees, as they say. Not very graceful, but I am stealthy.
Nice.
Chantal?
I am Kidlock the Wildlander, and my dad was a cat, and my mum was an orc. A tribal orc, so nomadic. So even when she was around, I didn't have much social skills, didn't learn much from her. And unfortunately, I lost my parents very young. I can't remember my age for that reason. And I'm now craving for a sense of belonging. I want to help, and I want to do good things. The problem is I have no idea where to start. And I have no people skills, so that's going to be an interesting thing. So yeah, I've spent ages far away from civilization. Now I'm slowly trying to go back to civilization. It's going to be an interesting time with you guys.
All right, it's good to have you.
And so my skills are like brawling, endurance, survival, persuasion. But I think persuasion has more to do with my natural stature rather than my...
Yes. Intimidation.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and a bit of craftsmanship for surviving all these years. Although it might have been just a long weekend, I don't know. I'm not very good with time.
All right.
I'm Mr. Miraculous, a gnome sage. My skills are alchemy, history, reasoning, runes, performance, devotion, empathy, and Arcana. I have the most of the skills in this
Yes.
group, so I am the weakest and the frailest. And that's one of the reasons that I like to hang around these people. I kind of gather lost causes to myself. I'm always looking out for those in need, and these are people in need. Need of companionship, need of sense, need of being a better person. Perhaps that is something that I can bring to them. I am a kind of travelling salesman, or was before my sort of adventuring days, going from place to place selling magical elixirs. A sort of a snake oil salesman, but honest, because I have actual skills and the things that I sell you are real. And I judge how much I charge for them based on how worthy I think the people are. If they're rich and don't need this very much, the price goes up, and sometimes I will do pro bono work for those that I think are in need.
I was wondering about this actually, because I've always been very interested in magic, completely useless at it myself. If you're not a snake oil salesman selling snake oil, then what do you sell? What kind of
healing
interesting
potions,
Okay.
potions to make you feel stronger, potions to make you better, stuff that helps people, stuff that's it's kind of to better the world tends to be my aim.
Okay, because my elbows and knees always tend to bang things.
I have ointments
Soothing
for
ointments. That'd be really helpful.
Yeah, or oil to make those opening doors much quieter. Might be something you
Indeed. I like that. Now, there was an initial letter, was there, in the rule book, I seem to remember? Or is that what you've got there?
That's going to happen when in the
fine.
first, there's kind of a point for that.
David, do you want to kick us off then? So we
Sure.
have no idea, I should say, what is going to happen at this point. We're just going to start reading. There's going to be just some decisions that we're going to make, and we'll see what happens.
So there's lots of rulebook bits in this. I'm going to ignore those, so we're not going to kind of explain stuff, but that's generally going to tell us how we do things. But I will only bring those up when necessary rather than reading them out. So, where are we in the beginning? You slump down on the wooden bench, stretching your legs. You've been travelling for nearly a week now towards a small village called Dragonholt. Your journey is at the request of Celise, a former adventuring companion and friend, who has since found her calling as a tutor to the children of Countess Regina Fairfax, Lady of Dragonholt. You take a moment to reread the letter. That's our first. We also have a little thing on the back there. Please refer to my first letter.
That we never received.
My friend, I pray this letter finds you in good health for once, because I need you to travel. As you might have heard, I have taken a position as a tutor in the household of Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt, just outside the village. I elected to take this position because I hoped for some peace and quiet after the business in Nericol. Had I known what my future held, I would have done something else entirely. Lady Regina's 3 children are more than lively enough to deny me anything resembling peace or quiet. Even now that they are mainly grown, I remain very busy. But I did not write to you to complain about my lot in life. As you know, I never complain, even when the so-called dwarven wine is very obviously an inferior human vintage. Again. Or when my very favourite cloak, the blue one, is stained by some drunken lush spilling his wine. Elves should really stay out of human taverns. I write to you because I fear something sinister is at work here in Dragonholt, and I require your assistance. I dare not say more openly, as I think it's likely this message will be intercepted. I can trust no one here to help me with this matter. After that business in Nericol, I have only you and a small handful of other allies left. Please help me. There is more at stake than you know. Celise. Now, Celise got a job as a tutor. She's got loads of spelling mistakes here, and I don't know if that's a clue because there's a lot of them. Letter with 3 T's. Fear was spelt incorrectly.
Yeah. Having done a lot of these escape the room games like Exit and the Log, I'm thinking, maybe
that was my first.
Take every character.
So I didn't mention them as I was reading them, but yeah, I was thinking that, or Celise did not write this.
Okay.
Someone posing her, but obviously there are some personal details to her friend, so I assume that she did. There's mention of Nericol. I assume it's something I should know about. But yeah, there's quite a lot of spelling mistakes, unless it's like a translated game.
I don't think so.
Could you write down every?
I say, is it worth giving that to somebody? Mark, do you want
There's
to?
quite a lot.
Yes.
Or on the paper? while
have a
David's
look
reading the
through.
next
Yeah.
bit, you can analyse the letter for clues.
Do you want?
I still have it, okay.
All right.
Maybe some of this will go into it, maybe it won't. We shall find out. You are uncertain why Selisa summoned you to Dragonholt. Her letter is strange, speaking only of a vague threat that requires your assistance. Although you are sure the letter was written in her hand, the message contains several details that you find uncharacteristic of the elf you'd adventured with in the past. You have never known Selise to drink dwarven wine, and you'd swear she always wore a green cloak. Blue was one of the colours.
Yeah,
I think it's
just
spelled in the
Oh.
French. I think it might be spelled in the French way, but
We definitely want to write that down, I think, don't we?
It's going to be quite hard to work out spelling mistakes when they've just transposed letters.
Oh, I see.
yeah, some of it's just like letters.
Yeah, I
all
swear
around.
that's going to be. I suspect it's not.
Yes, it is not unthinkable that her preferences have changed over the years, but something about the way the message is written makes you feel there is more to the letter than is obvious. You have always known Selise to be excessively proper in her speaking. She must have been in a panic when writing to produce so many spelling errors. Even more alarming is the brief note on the back of the letter. You had not received any word from Selise before this one. Could she have sent another letter that was intercepted as she had feared? Regardless of the vagueness of her request, you owe Selise at least this much after that business in Erical. As the tutor in the employ of a countess, she may be in position to reward you handsomely for any assistance you can render. Excuse me, is this road the fastest way to Dragonholt? You look up from the letter to see Mariam, a gnome merchant you've been travelling with, talking to another traveller and pointing down a path towards a forbidden-looking forest. Aye, if you're going to Dragonholt, you have to go through the Eventide Forest. Ain't no way around it. About a day's travel straight through. Mariam thanks the traveller, and he continues on his way in the direction opposite the forest. You fold the letter and stow it away before standing. It won't do to rest for too long. You sling your baggage over your shoulder and prepare to resume your travels. Mariam turns to face you. Well, what are we waiting for? If that's the road to Dragonholt, let's be off. Mariam has been travelling with you for some 3 days now. Like you, she's travelling to Dragonholt. And, as she put it when you met, the more the merrier. We should proceed with caution, calls Braxton from behind you. The York woman hefts Mariam's bags off the ground where the gnome had left it and drops it into Mariam's open arms. Rumour has it there are bandits who make camp in these woods. We should watch our backs as we pass through. Since meeting Mariam and the York knight-errant, you have found Braxton to be the more cautious of the pair by a wide margin. As far as you can tell, Mariam has hired Braxton for protection, but at times the York seems to dote on the gnome more than a bodyguard would. You nod in agreement of Braxton's comments, with a last fleeting glance at the crossroads signpost. You follow after the energetic gnome has already started off towards Eventide or Eventide Forest. So we have some choices now that we need to make a decision on. We can try and make some headway before we lose the light. We can ask, I assume, Braxton what more they've heard about the bandits. We can say, stick close, Mariam, it's dangerous to get separated. So we sort of have the choice to rush off, to talk more about these bandits, or to stick close to Mariam and Braxton. So there's nothing obvious skills-wise.
No.
So what happens now is that one of us will make that choice,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever does will sort of activate, so they can't make a choice again until somebody else has.
Yeah, we've got this token, so it was like
Can we
double-sided to indicate when you've activated.
discuss,
Yep.
like the options, because I would be either in favor of like staying with Mariam and accompanying her, or knowing a bit more about the threats in the forest. It's always nice to talk to orcs. I'm maybe biased.
I'm not
but
sure about that.
So where are we trying to get somewhere in particular? Are we just
We're
heading
trying to get to
Dragonholt.
Dragonholt.
Okay.
And this is just, how are we making that? Are we speeding on, having a talk about these bandits, just sticking close to Mariam?
I'm happy travelling with Mariam.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I'm happy travelling.
Oh.
And also, Mariam as a bodyguard, so the orc is going to stay with her.
I say I like the look of the big
Yeah.
orc behind
Yes,
her more
yeah.
than anything else.
What about the big orc next to you?
Yeah,
Slightly
the more orcs,
smaller.
the merrier.
Who would like to be the active player on that choice?
I'm
Should we
happy.
go round?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
So
what do we
that's-
say? Stick close with Mariam?
Yes.
Or no, we're telling Mariam to stick close. It's dangerous to get separated.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
So that's
so you find entry 4577 and read that.
okay. The young gnome glances over her shoulder at you with a raised eyebrow. You're starting to sound like Braxton. She twirls to face you and walks backward down the road in front of you. Despite my size, I'm quite capable of protecting myself, you know. Braxton chuckles warmly to herself. I believe our new friend is worried for you, not because of your size, but because of your nature. Even though you can protect yourself, try not to worry us too much. So mark story point E3. I'm not
Yep,
quite sure
so
what
we
the-
have a list of story points on the back there, and that means we mark E3, was
Oh,
that?
yeah, that's
so
what
we mark
that,
down that we've done
uh,
E3,
We're going to write it
Yeah,
on.
just whack it on there for them.
and that may come up later. It may say if you've marked E3, then this happens, I assume. So maybe if we didn't have E3 marked down, perhaps Mariam would have been attacked in the woods. Who knows?
E3.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Marion just sounds like you two.
So what David has summarized is actually available there. So if you don't have a David handy at home, you can just have a look at the rule book.
Yeah, so he does explain. David's kind of read up ahead of time, which is great.
I mean, not really. I just guessed.
Fine.
So yes, sorry.
So we
Yes,
do our
yeah.
entries.
So either we should hurry along before it gets dark, or do the rumors about bandits have any merits?
He seems to be tempting us to try and go after these bandits. somehow, doesn't
Yes, yeah, it's been twice.
I think we're just going to chat about them, and they're just bandits.
he? I'm quite happy just to ignore the bandits and get on to Dragonholt.
I agree.
I'm less happy, but speed is not a bad thing.
I don't think I have any say in the matter.
I think you can discuss.
Yeah, you can't make decisions anymore. All your
Exactly.
decision
Shall I
making
make the
energy is
Do you want
gone.
me to make the decision?
Go for it.
I think we just get on with it.
Sure.
Okay.
So you've got 2 entries there.
So I read
Get on with it,
6620.
Yep.
Ooh. You hustle forward to catch up with the gnome and keep pace with her. Braxton falls in just behind you. I understand your enthusiasm, but we must make time. Must take our time once we enter the forest, or we may become lost. Oh dear. Mark story point A1. And then
Okay.
I read entry 1340.
So no decision there.
No, that was just see there's stuff going on now about time and passing of it.
Oh, okay.
As you speak with your travelling companions, small trees begin to dot the terrain around you. Tall grass gives way to brush, and you soon find yourself at the edge of the forest. Time passes, which is very specific. So we essentially, throughout the adventure, you track the passage of your time on your tracking sheet on the current quest.
So it should be on the back of that book that you're holding.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll just. I think we just
So we've
write
got-
one.
It looks
One
like we've
to-
got
one to
8
eight.
possible boxes
Yeah.
that we can sort of check off there. So I'm just going to note them up here. So time. And we've done number 1.
Yes, so each unit of time represents abstract amount of time that could be anything from a few minutes to multiple hours depending on the current quest. So stuff happens.
Okay.
When time passes, mark one the box with a check mark or an X. Some effects in the future reference how much time has passed. So if we go to multiple locations or something like that, we're using more time.
Okay.
As you walk, you take the chance to become better acquainted with your fellow travellers. So we have an option now for somebody to make a decision on. We can ask Mariam what she plans to do in Dragonholt, or we can ask Braxton what she plans to do in Dragonholt. And I think, there isn't another one on the other page. So Mariam or Braxton?
What do you think?
I mean,
I don't have anything
you
to
don't,
say.
You can't make a
Yes,
decision,
exactly.
but you can still have a say
You
in the
can
decision-making
influence
process.
the decision makers.
That's fine. Braxton seems like a good person to talk to.
I feel like she's going to know the town.
A bit more streetwise, a bit more
Yes.
I've been here before.
I have the suspicion that Braxton may just be following Mariam along.
Yeah, that's also true. Mariam does seem to have a...
I imagine we'll get time to chat to both of them. I
Maybe.
feel like it's going to be a long journey.
Well, somebody's got to make the decision, and then...
It's, I'm happy to do the reading, but you
Shall
haven't done one
Yeah,
yet.
shall we go with Braxton?
Okay.
Where are we down here?
Yep.
Braxton. Oh, this option does not exhaust your activation token.
Oh, so it was just I didn't read that bit.
So does that mean you carry on?
I guess...
You're making the choice, but you don't turn that over.
Yes.
Is the
Okay.
way that I would read that.
Alright.
It doesn't exhaust it. His is already exhausted.
Yeah.
So we mark story point N3 and read entry 4945. Here we go. Well, we've got lots of choices here. Braxton smiles gently, nodding her head in Mariam's direction. I will continue to protect our friend Mariam for as long as she requires my services. As you may have noticed, looking after her does not leave me much time for anything else. Well, a remarkably deep voice for a female orc, wasn't it? Maybe they have deep voices. I resemble that remark, calls Miriam. After that, I was not certain what to do with myself before meeting Mariam either. I suppose I will travel to a larger city and try to find employment. So we can ask Braxton about her past adventures, how she met Mariam, tell Braxton about our past adventures, or we can ask Braxton which lord she served, or ask her about her military training, or we can show her how to foil sleight of hand. Now, several of these require skills. So we need, if we want to tell her about our past adventures, we need deception or performance.
Okay, I could do that.
Asking about her lord, we need empathy or history.
I could do that.
Asking about military training, we need history or military.
I could do history.
And Mr. Skill over here. In order to teach her how to foil sleight of hand, we need awareness or thievery.
That is the only one I can't do.
I can do that.
I'd quite like to teach a sleight of hand and get her on side.
I'm afraid you're exhausted.
I know,
Oh,
but,
no,
he,
but he
but I know he can.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I haven't used
Teach
my...
our friend the
Should we
ability.
do that? Because I haven't used my token
I
yet.
just think that
Yes.
shows companionship, and that
That's
might be good in the
right.
You know, I mean,
future.
I've just taken all these skills.
But, yeah,
We'll be friendly and teach her some useful life
that's what we're
skills.
saving you for when we really need those skills.
Yes.
Yeah, or the next choice where it's all combat. No, I've got magic combat, so I should be.
Braxton chuckles and waves one hand dismissively. I'm certain that I'm capable of... She notices what you are holding, and her hand drops to her belt, where her purse had been until just recently. How did you get my purse? Give that back, she says. And then show me how you did that. You return her purse, and then spend a few minutes walking her through the basics of misdirection and thievery. Her brow furrows as she focuses intently on your lesson. Mark story points 02. I feel like that's going to be useful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, she got herself
W3, we got 2 story points for that
If she
one.
meets Ricky J, she'll be fine.
All right, if 2 or more time has passed,
No.
only 1, we read entry 7616. So do I carry on because there's no decision? Or do we
Sure.
pass it on?
Are you moving on to another number though?
It is another number. Should we pass it on? Although it's the active player, isn't it?
Yeah, you're
Who
still,
reads?
you're still
Yeah.
active.
Who's the last person, I think, who's flipped this over, so I guess I'll carry on.
Yeah, I'm
You continue down the road, and the sky overhead is soon obscured by the foliage of the forest canopy. Streams of sunlight dance around you as a gentle breeze shakes the leafy ceiling.
Oh.
Mariam skips forward and spins through the shafts of light, smiling and laughing. It would be best if you stayed close. Becoming lost in the woods is all too common for those not accustomed to travelling without the sun or moon to guide them. Despite the orc's warning, Braxton makes no additional effort to keep pace with the playful gnome. If story point N3 is marked, it is. We go to 4389.
What N3 was from.
4389.
What did we do wrong?
All right, we're going to have a decision after this. You change the subject, electing to ask Braxton what she knows about Dragonholt. I've never been to Dragonholt myself, says Braxton. Lord Carla's lands were west of here, so I never had occasion to visit. I did hear that the village has a fine inn. You heard that from me, calls Mariam. Mariam's aunt runs the place, says Braxton with a smile. Apart from that, I think the place is rather unremarkable. A small collection of houses surrounded by farms and orchards. She frowns and drums her fingers on the hilt of her sword, looking all around. Well, that was one story about a brave hero who could freeze a dragon's flames in his throat. But I think that was just a story. Braxton lapses into an uncomfortable silence for some time. So we can ask her about her family, or about orcs, or we can just leave her to her thoughts.
All right, well, the choice is mine.
Indeed.
And mine alone. But I welcome input.
Well, we have a half orc, so
Yeah, like,
that's
I mean,
about
I-
orcs is a bit dull.
It also feels a little bit racist. I'm like, so where are you from? Well, I'm from here. No, yeah, but where are you from? No, we don't do that. So I think,
Family or leave her?
I mean, I don't know
I'll pass
in
it
real
over,
life,
you get the choice.
I'd be just leave this person to their thoughts. But I think I'm a bit more forward than that. So I'm definitely going to talk to her, so it'll be about her family.
All right.
Yeah.
2062.
Oh, so in fact, we all flip them back up
Yeah,
now, don't we?
seems-
Yep.
So once we've all
Yes.
used our activation tokens, you flip them back up so we can all make decisions again.
Hey.
I haven't seen them in years, she says. My brothers were not happy about me abandoning them to take service with Lord Carla. But to be honest, I had to get away. After our father died, my brothers became more and more domineering. They wouldn't let my mother and me do anything without their permission. I was going on long hunting trips just to avoid them. It was one of those trips that I met Lord Carla. She glances up at the forest canopy as if to see her brothers there. It's funny, but now that I'm grown and a knight, I miss them. I'd like to see them again, as equals. I'd like to meet them too, calls Mariam. Maybe break all their kneecaps. Mariam does not like my brothers. Even though she doesn't know anything about them. They were awful to you, says Mariam. That's all I need to know. If 2 or more time has passed, nope. Otherwise read 3859.
See, it was useful as rushing into the forest, otherwise I suspect more time would have passed.
Eventide Forest, an intimidating landmark, and you can see why Braxton was concerned. Within an hour of entering the forest, the thin young trees give way to ancient gnarled guardians. The light leaf canopies transform into an oppressive shroud that cloaks the road in darkness, even during the most sunny of days. Time passes.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's our second time unit. Okay. In the darkness of Eventide Forest, a chilling stillness reigns, and even bird songs are drowned out by silence. You continue onward, Mariam's usual banter quieted by her new mood, one part fascination, one part fear. Braxton keeps an ever-vigilant eye on the surroundings, her hand now resting on the pommel of the blade at her waist. You soon come to a stop when you catch up to Mariam. She's glancing down what appears to be a small game trail that branches away from the main road. Up ahead, you see a number of fallen trees are blocking your path. An old crossroads signpost marks the split, but the wood is too rotted and the writing is indecipherable. What do we do now? It doesn't seem like Lady Regina has been alerted yet. Braxton strains to look over the fallen trees. We should clear the road ourselves, or send word to Lady Regina once we reach Dragonholt. We could try this trail, offers Mariam. Maybe it connects to the main road on the other side. So, do we scout along the game trail and report back? Climb over the trees and continue on the main road? Clear the road of debris before continuing? Those are our choices. I mean, fallen trees on roads, always ambush. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
100%.
Very suspicious.
Yes.
Every time.
I believe
You
I've
should know
settled this
about
many
this.
times before. In fact, I may have done this tree myself.
Did you just not clear it away?
Yes.
Were you down here with
Last
us?
time you were there.
But there may be other bandits now using my trees and
Because I could easily clear the path, but
yeah.
Well, I like the idea of going down the game trail because they wouldn't expect us to do that, maybe.
Maybe. That could be
have
dangerous if we get
they
lost.
set up the game trail?
Yeah.
Are we good at finding our way?
Survival is not one of my skills.
Nor
How
mine.
about our wilderness friends? One
Are
of
you
must
any
have
good at survival?
I am, but
Oh,
because
well,
I'm a
we're
bit
fine then.
suspicious about that trail. Like, it's a bit too obvious. I don't know.
You're.
The other option would be like to just like jump off the over the tree. and
Climb over the
just,
trees,
yeah.
continue on,
When
and
has
then
a half-orc ever had suspicion? That's
That's part of the cat thing, I think, for my dad.
we'll spend some time cleaning it up.
well, I'm not into helping
I
to help
feel
Elias.
like-
That's not me.
My personal opinion is if there are bandits here, we are heroes, and it's better
That's
that it's better that they encounter us than some unfortunate commoner on the road. So my thing would be to clear the road and maybe reverse ambush this. So
Well, if you decide to do that, I'm taking a cat nap.
okay.
If I help you, like lifting the tree, is it my action or is it like still?
So that hasn't
Yeah.
happened yet because there's no
Yes.
skills being used.
Yes.
So what we want to think about
It's
is like
just
if
the
we
decision,
think, if
yeah.
we were going down the game trail,
Mm.
I would say you didn't do it because we'd want the survival probably.
Yes, yes.
So we'd think it. So I would want you to be still active.
Oh, and you can
Yeah.
save the skill
To
effectively.
save the skill, because
Yes.
you might
Okay.
want survival in case you get lost.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing that one, maybe not so worry. But if we clear the road of debris, we don't know. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just paranoid, and maybe it'll be fine. But I'm going to take point on this.
Yeah,
If
that
I
was
take
your
any damage, it's
decision.
going to be me.
And then I can protect you if there is ambush.
And then, yeah, one of
Absolutely.
you guys, I'm sure, can use fighting or something when it kicks off.
All right.
I've
Oh
got
dear.
this, guys. All right, so I'm going to attempt with my weak self to clear the road of debris before continuing. 3 9 6
Leaf
2.
by leaf.
Do you have a spell that would do it?
So presumably he's deciding that we're all going to do it, though, isn't he?
Yes.
It's just if there are any skills needed on this next bit, it won't be me able to. So, 3962. Braxton produces an axe from her baggage and you set to work clearing the trees from the road. Breaking each tree down into pieces small enough to move isn't complicated, but it is tiring. Your shoulders burn from swinging the axe, and your back aches from dragging the enormous tree limbs off to the side. Marion busies herself with the smaller branches. When only larger boughs remain, she helps by singing a gnomish working song. Work, 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 clear up the trees. That seems to... I've just made that up, it's not written there.
I know.
That seems to include invented verses mocking you, Braxton, herself, gnomes in general, even Tide Forest, and any other subject. Work, 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 you're all ugly. She's not very good at mocking, honestly. 2 time passes. You each
What are we doing?
lose 1 stamina.
What?
Whoa.
And there's more, I'm afraid.
My goodness.
You each lose 2 additional stamina unless you have endurance, which I know
Yes.
one of us has.
Yes.
I don't think the rest of us do. So we lose 3 stamina.
Ouch.
Why did you say? Being good doesn't get you anywhere.
Oh, so there is a rule about stamina that you may not be aware of. I read it in the initial rulebook. But
Yep.
if your stamina drops to 0 and you're told to lose stamina, you have no stamina left to lose. Instead, you disable one of your skills,
Oh,
Okay, yes.
which means obviously you do not
eventually
have
getting
it.
worse.
Yep, yep.
You
Makes
just
sense.
say 1 for me, like -1.
Well, you have endurance,
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
just -1.
Okay.
Me on the 8 stamina,
Yeah.
I don't have endurance, so I've gone down to 5. At length, you and Braxton roll the large and largest of the tree trunks to rest the side of the road, then collapse atop it for a brief rest. You are done. Good work, says Mariam, offering you each a drink of water from a tin cup. We should mention this in Dragonholt. It'll really help me get my business off the ground if people know I helped clear the road. Braxton glances you over a drink, but says nothing. Ooh, sassy. There's a bit of salt going on there. Mark story point F7.
Well, I hope that's a good
as long as
one.
it pays.
That's a lot of time.
8557. After following the winding road for what feels like hours, you begin to fear that you're travelling in circles. Just as you're about to suggest turning back, Mariam calls out from beyond the next bend. There's a clearing up here! As you round the bend, you see Mariam staring up at a single massive tree that stands alone in the centre of a clearing some 20 paces across. Although the great oak's canopy is just as thick as anywhere else in the forest, its branches reach well above the tops of the surrounding trees, affording you a view of the sky at the edges of the clearing. If 3 or more time has passed,
Yep.
we need 3, 5, 4, 9.
It feels like a remarkably difficult place to find. You'd think there'd be a main road to Dragonholt, wouldn't you? But
Oh, it's already night. No wonder I feel so tired, Maria mutters with a large yawn. Sure enough, when you look up, you see stars sparkling brightly in the vast emptiness of the night sky. You note how brilliant they seem so far from the torchlight of the city. At the edges of the clearing, several paths cut through the dense trees, leading away from the great oak in different directions. Only a few seem well travelled, but none are marked by signs. Braxton, too, has noticed the myriad options for further travel. We should get our bearings before making camp for the night. Mariam rolls her eyes at Braxton's suggestion. We can use our sun as a guide in the morning. I'm going to sleep. With that, she takes out a bedroll and makes camp at the base of the great oak. So, a bunch of skill options here. I'm out. Determine your heading by observing the stars. You need Arcana.
sorry, just to double check on this one. I realise you can't make the decision, but the fact that you still have the skill, can we not still make use of that?
No, it's
No, you
I
are.
can't activate
Yeah.
it,
yes.
so it's got to be the person.
Otherwise,
who
there'd be no
activates.
game. Otherwise, us
Okay.
having every skill would just mean every.
You can do anything you
every
like.
option.
Yeah,
every
yeah.
dice.
Okay, fine.
Because we have built a bunch of characters that have every skill in the game. We didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
We didn't get them all, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I certainly wasn't intending to try and do that.
That's why I was in the military at one point in my.
Okay. Your varied career.
Yes. I'm a cat. I travel from place to place.
So we can use Arcana or Devotion, both of which I have and nobody else has, so we can't do that. But we could use Survival to determine our heading by observing the stars. We could convince Mariam to read the stars before she sleeps, which requires Empathy, which I have, so can't do, or Persuasion, which I think
Yes, I have.
Kidlock has. So you could badger her into staying awake a bit longer.
Scare of her.
And maybe did you have it as well? No, Reasoning you had.
Yeah.
We could climb the great oak to look for a landmark, which requires agility or athletics.
We can do some of that if we want to.
Some of that over there. Or we can leave the navigation to Braxton and turn in for the night.
Well, that's
I'm ready for
it's
bed.
quite a tall tree, and
The problem is, the only one who can climb it is him. And he's going to sleep.
I guess I could look at the
you
stars.
can
and
look at the stars.
Yes,
I mean, I
But is
trust
the-
Braxton, but I still think it's worthy having a second opinion.
yes. Is the sky like?
Braxton's never
Can we
actually
actually
been.
see it? Because
Yeah,
Yes,
this
the
is
sky- the
clearing,
stars
so
were
it's
nice and
yes.
bright.
Braxton did say that she'd never been to
That
Dragonholt.
is true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm happy to look at the stars if you
Yeah,
don't want to
sounds
go
like a good-
climbing. Yeah.
just starts
All right.
down the
Do you want to
tree.
climb up the
Yeah.
tree?
Resort to the stars.
Okay. Okay, so read entry 2172.
Okay. You gaze up at the stars, walking in a slow circle around the great tree in the clearing's center to get a better view. You take your bearings from the constellations and find Latariana's star. You are now confident you know which way to go to reach Dragonholt. Mark story point L1.
That's good.
As you make your way back to the campfire, you feel something small strike the top of your head. It's a small wooden statuette. You look up at the branches of the great oak and notice a number of small pages and other trinkets tied to branches or resting on tree limbs. You gain the wooden trinket item B.
Item B.
Ooh.
So we have a deck here with letters on, where
Mhm.
you're going to find item B. And we have a wooden trinket. You found this intricate wooden trinket in the great oak in an eventide forest. It looks quite old. A heart is carved into the wood containing the letters T and U.
Thank
Was
you.
T
Okay.
some of the letters that were like
Well, yeah.
we had too
but-
many of them.
Letter.
Too
had a
many
lot
of them,
T's.
yes.
Yeah.
You return to the campfire and show the trinket to your companions. What do you make of it? Asks Braxton. I'm not sure, said Miriam. I think this was carved by a human or an orc, too rough to be made by an elf. Probably just some harmless local custom. Miriam tosses the trinket back to you. So I read entry 8549. Yeah, we've got some choice there. You assist Braxton in gathering some kindling and start a small campfire a few paces from the great oak. While you work, you can hear Miriam humming softly to herself. You set out your bedroll and relax. Although you are all tired, a brief chat around the campfire is not an unwelcome event. So we either ask Miriam what she plans to do in Dragonholt, which requires story point N3 to be marked.
Yeah, we've
which
got
is
it.
fine, yes. This option does not exhaust your activation token. Or we ask Braxton what she plans to do in Dragonholt, and that would be needing E7, which we don't have. So that's not. And go straight to sleep, mark story point H3. And then I read the entries.
Well, now we know the way. I kind of want to get there.
Yeah.
So finding out Miriam could be interesting,
Mm-hmm.
but
I'm sleepy.
Let's
Yeah,
have one
for
of these
me-
two. I mean, it doesn't activate the token,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah,
need
that's
to
true,
be
yes,
active
yeah.
to make the choice, from what I understand. So,
yeah, well, we did. I don't know.
Do you want to talk to Mariam?
Not really. You
No.
can. She's no.
Well, you can decide to go to sleep and read that. That will be in character.
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, I'm happy to
I
continue.
want to talk to
reading.
Mariam, but obviously I'm too tired.
And she's tired too. She
I
said it a
think
couple of
you, as a
times.
gnome, should speak to.
All right, I'll talk to Mariam. Oh, but I don't flip my token
Don't
over, is that
activate
right?
it.
No, so that's 3579.
Because we've got N3.
Oh, sorry, we need to mark. No, sorry.
Yeah, so we've got
got
N3
N3, so
marked.
that's fine. Yes,
It
yeah.
doesn't exhaust to 3579. I'm glad you asked, bubbles Mariam. I'm going to set up the finest apothecary shop that Dragonholt has ever seen. I'll brew potions and sell remedies and make lots of money. She nods, tossing a vial of pink liquid into the air, catching it and balancing it on her finger for no particular reason. My aunt can help me get started. She already runs the best inn in town, and she's a fantastic tailor too. Mariam flourishes her half cape and brightly coloured tunic. So we can ask her what type of potions she brews, ask her about her family, Exchange brewing recipes if we have alchemy.
I'm exhausted.
We're running out of that, aren't we?
Yeah,
Tired.
We can complement Mariam's attire and acquire about its maker if we have craftsmanship or empathy.
I've got craftsmanship.
I've got empathy, but we're both exhausted.
Okay. We can tell her what we know of Dragonholt's markets if we have history or streetwise. Now I do have streetwise,
Yeah.
so we can tell her about the markets.
So you know about the market, but you can't
You've
find
never
your way
been
back here.
Yes.
A different half of the brain.
Yeah.
Alternatively, we could educate Mariam on methods for barter and trade, again if we have streetwise or persuasion. So do we tell her about trade, tell her about the market, ask about her family, or ask about potions?
If we talk about the market, she would mind.
That'd be nice,
More
wouldn't it?
kind to her. We seem to be a helpful bunch for some
All right.
strange
Was that
reason.
streetwise
I feel
one?
like we would need to report back because it sounds like she's going to be the competition.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
He's
Oh.
asleep.
Apothecary
Some of
over
that's
there.
fine. I'm an adventurer now.
Maybe they can go into business together. Right, so we're going for tell her about the markets, which is 1902. You tell Mariam that Dragonholt used to have a successful apothecary shop, one that was well known in the area. Yes, says Mariam. Aunt Safi told me. She says that the shop is standing vacant, so I should be able to buy it cheap. Who knows, maybe the last apothecary left some recipes or something interesting behind. Mariam claps her hands, evidently delighted at her stroke of good luck. You almost don't want to tell her what happened to the last apothecary to work in Dragonholt, but you know you must tell her about the man's grisly fate. Mariam does not seem quite as distressed as you might have thought she would be. That's interesting, she says. I wonder why Aunt Safi never told me that. Oh well, it's not as if I'm going to be doing anything that foolhardy once I take the place over, and I'm sure all that blood got washed out by now. All right, so we mark story points K6 and M3.
Interesting.
If 2 or more time has passed, it has. We go to 7094. Right near the back. What about you? Asks Mariam. What are you planning to do in Dragonholt? Before you can answer, she hunches over and crooks one finger like a sinister hook, putting a sneer into her voice. Are you seeking vengeance on a terrible foe? Just as quickly, she swoons, throwing one hand artfully over her forehead. Or are you in search of love? Mariam tumbles backward over a log with a squawk. She grins up at you from a pile of sticks and leaves. Or maybe it's just a chance encounter. She continues to talk about everything and nothing before finally pausing for breath. So, in this moment, do we ask about Eventide Forest, ask how she met Braxton, or ask about gnomes? Which David won't let you do.
Racist.
So you've got Eventide Forest
I've already
or
got
Braxton.
2 names to ask about.
That's true. We probably know enough about
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Anyway.
Gnomes is one
I've
thing
told you to be careful with the questions.
What was it?
The Forest or Braxton?
I am going to ask about. I'm going to ask about Braxton.
Okay.
So that's 3686.
And we all flip them back up.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Mariam starts laughing before she even begins her story about meeting Braxton. Well, first of all, whatever Braxton tells you, I wasn't drunk, says Mariam. But we did get thrown out of the same tavern together. It was a good night. I remembered it rather differently, says Braxton. Well, that's because you're no fun, Miriam winks at you. You see, Braxton is a wet blanket, but she keeps following me around secretly. She knows that she would never do anything exciting if she didn't. Also, you pay me to keep you safe, says Braxton. Also that, exclaims Miriam with a bored smile. If 2 or more time has passed, read entry 1096. It
Yep.
definitely has. Miriam lets out a long yawn, and you second the motion. As you nestle into your bedroll for the night, Braxton speaks up. Best we don't all sleep at once. I'll take first watch. Can I count on you to take the second? You nod in your agreement and drift off to sleep. One of you must volunteer to keep watch. Refresh your activation token if you're keeping watch. The rest of you exhaust your activation token. So basically, some of these,
I'm happy to keep
it's
watching.
almost certainly
Yeah.
going to be the Hulk.
Yeah, I've just thought maybe one of the skills that we don't have.
Yeah. 2 time passes.
Awareness, which might be useful point for a person on watch to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got archery. I know it's not awareness, but at least
That's
I can.
not
At least I
awareness. It begins with A.
2 time passes.
2 more.
Yeah.
We're going to run out.
And you each recover 2 stamina.
Ooh.
Oh, that's good. I knew we should have gone to sleep.
So am I also recovering because I'm awake? So
Yes, you each
Okay.
recover 2 stamina. So back up. I'm feeling better now.
I guess you keep watch
so
while
I'm exhausted
lying
now.
down.
You rouse from your slumber to a gentle coaching from Braxton. Your turn at watch, she says quietly. You rub your eyes for a moment and sit up, taking a drink from your canteen to wake yourself. You glance around the camp at your fellow travellers. Braxton prepares a bedroll, lies down and is quickly asleep. Mariam stirs for a moment, possibly awakened by the brief commotion, and rolls to her other side. A gentle silence takes hold of the clearing. Your journey to Dragonholt has been a long one, but now you are no more than half a day's travel from your destination.
Hooray.
The crack of burning branches from the campfire keeps you company as you keep watch. The moon is beginning to set, and you know the light of a new dawn will soon grace the forest clearing where you've made camp. Just then, you hear a rustling in the thick brush onto one side of the camp, and recall Braxton's warning about bandits. Now you've got an option, or 3 options. You can watch further for movement or signs of danger. You can arm yourself and take a closer look. This doesn't exhaust you. Or you can wait your fellow travelling companions.
I think maybe just an animal, so I'm not waking you just yet, but I'm certainly approaching where the noise comes from, but armed. So, which one is it? Sorry.
It's one of these, I think.
Yes. Arm yourself and take a closer look, and that's going to be 1654. You grab your weapon and slip out of the camp, circling around toward when you heard the sound. As your eyes adjust to the darkness, you move silently from tree to tree and soon find yourself behind a small group of rough-looking people, lurking in the bushes and watching your camp. Bandits. Mark story point X1. There are 3 bandits directly in front of you, 2 men and a woman in torn and stained clothing and scraps of leather armor. The woman holds a strung bow across her knees as she crouches, while one of the men has a spear and the other a long knife in his hand. Wasn't someone on watch by the fire? Asks one of the men. I don't see anyone there now, says the woman. Quiet, says the other man. Wait for the signal. They clearly haven't noticed you. Just as clearly, they're intending to attack your traveling companions. So I either shout a warning to your traveling companions, draw your weapon and engage the bandits, or sneak up on the bandits and ambush them.
You don't have stealth, so you can't.
Yes, yeah, the last one is out of there. I think I must protect you at all costs. And also it's very important for you to get your hours of sleep. So I'm going to draw your my weapon and engage the bandits.
You got the
I thought I was the reckless one.
So 7, 6,
I think
8, 6.
The sound of fighting might wake us
Yeah.
up. I'm a sound sleeper though, so...
Yeah. And that potion
pull
you
the
took
blanket
to help you sleep.
Oh yeah, just a little tickle.
Okay, so you hurl yourself at the bandits, who are quite surprised by your sudden attack. And I'm not quite the stealthy one, so that's amazing. You soon fell one enemy and wound another, bellowing your battle cry all the while. So maybe now you're awake, I don't know.
Right.
However, 3 more bandits approach and threaten to surround you, brandishing long knives and brutal cudgels in a deadly dance. You quickly retreat. If story point X1 is marked, which I think it is, I read entry 9943. You shout a warning and rush back into the camp, hearing the bandits swear and move to follow you. You're supposed to wait for the signal, hisses one. That was the signal, shouts the other. As you skid to a stop by the campfire, you see Braxton already on her feet, with her shield in hand. Miriam is still staggering out of her tangling blanket. What is it? Grumbles Miriam. What's going on? Bandits, rumbles Braxton, as a half-dozen of the desperate-looking figures run into the firelight, weapons held high.
I just turn over in my sleep. Is that way going? Yeah, she's got this.
Braxton hefts a heavy steel shield and slashes her long swords threateningly at one of the approaching bandits. Miriam produces 2 flasks and unstoppers one of them. A thick acrid smoke
She's a useful
pours from its open mouth as she holds it aloft, ready to throw.
one. Ooh,
3 of the bandits suddenly rush forward, charging the camp. Miriam hurls the smoking flask, which smashes against one of their bucklers. The billowing cloud of acidic fog erupts from the impact site. Bandit shrieks and flails, dropping his buckler to the ground as it dissolves. The 2 other bandits continue their charge. One swings an axe at Miriam, but Braxton catches the blade with her long sword and slams her shield into the man, sending him rumbling to the ground. The 3rd bandit dodges around Braxton and darts forward straight towards you, spear point trained at your chest. Well, he may try. Dodge the attack, catch the spear and disarm the bandit, deflect the spear and counterattack, which this one requires dueling and military, which I don't have. Blast the bandit with a rune. I don't have Arcana and I don't have runes. So I will catch the spear and disarm the bandit. 15, 13.
Yeah.
You still yourself and wait until the last moment before spear point would impact your chest. In an instant, you fall back a step and grab the spear's neck. If you have brawling or willpower, so I have brawling, I read entry 8563.
You're right. Well, I think maybe we should have been back in at this point because there were choices. But
Oh, sorry.
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to let you
Well, apparently
do all the
you're
fighting.
just taking them on.
You twist the spear away from you and step into the bandit's rush, raising your elbow to impact solidly with his oncoming face. You feel something break, and the bandit cries out, collapsing to the grass and leaving you holding his spear. You turn and hurl the spear into the chest of another bandit as she attempts to slash out at
Oh, sounds
Miriam
like
with a long
sickness.
knife. She falls and Miriam gives you a quick thumbs up. Hey,
All right.
I'm doing well.
I assume we were all back in by this point.
I'm still sleeping.
If story points H3 is marked, I don't think we have H3, no. So otherwise, 9513. So 9513 is here. For, is it Kayla and Harmon, bellows Braxton? In the flickering firelight, she seems a demon from a nightmare, huge and dark and powerful. 3 of the bandits attempt to surround her, but she pivots away, slamming her shield into one and knocking her down, then slashing at a second and sending him screaming into the dark, clutching at his face. She trades blows with a large human, his axe sliding off her shield, her sword flickering past his face as he dances backward. You notice a bandit with his hair in a long braid creeping up behind Braxton, with a knife glimmering in his hand, focused at Braxton, is on a battle with the large bandit she clearly hasn't noticed. So I either intercept the approaching bandit, catch the bandit from behind, stop the bandit with an alchemical concoction, but I don't have alchemy, so feels like it's all
I think we should be back in by this
This is
point.
definitely
Yeah,
there was one
yeah.
of these
This is
before.
definitely-
okay. Yes, yeah.
So we're all coming back.
It's because there was a difference between these ones or these
Yeah.
ones.
Okay. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is something that you could do. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So either intercept the approaching bandit, catch the bandit from behind, or stop the bandit with an alchemical concoction, which I think
No, I think from behind you're going to need stealth. I
it
think-
doesn't say though.
But I suspect you will
Might be
need
the
stealth
next-
as
yes,
the...
that's true.
Well, but if like someone does it, the next person gets the ability to activate it.
Mm.
I could just throw a bomb.
I'd like you to just throw it.
Yeah.
That seems like a good way to
Alright.
scare off bandits.
I got something for this. You pull out an oiled leather bladder and hurl it as hard as you can against the bandit's feet. The bladder bursts, sending a black tar-like substance all over the grass and bandit's legs. What is this stuff? The bandit says, trying to brush the oobleck from his thigh with one hand. I'm stuck! He says, trying to retrieve his hand. With a wail, the bandit soon finds his feet are rooted in place, and his attempts to move only send him toppling over to get even more stuck. You'd like to watch his travails and take notes, but sadly there is no time. Your commanders are still locked in combat with the bandits, who swarm around the edges of the light provided by your campfire. Screaming incoherently, a scarred bandit rushes at you. In one hand, he brandishes a studded iron mace. The other arm ends in a steel hook, its metal glinting in the firelight. So, do one of you rush forward to engage the bandit, brace yourself to receive the charge, which requires military, or flee and attack at range, which requires arcana, archery, or thievery, which does not activate your, not exhaust your activation token, or protect yourself and
So
alchemy.
I do have archery, but on the other hand,
I think
am
Kippers.
reckless.
I think it's time for you to do your stuff.
What's the rush?
So you've got the rush forward to engage the bandit, no
Anybody
skill
can do
necessary, or the brace yourself to receive the charge.
That's not. I'm not got the body for that. I'm afraid. I'm a little bit frail.
So, or you've got the flee and attack at range.
You got archery.
I am reckless.
Shoot him.
Recklessly shoot him.
I will recklessly shoot him. I will jump backwards while firing in
Yeah.
an elven style manner.
Yeah.
So my token,
Yeah.
was.
And you just basically
yes.
read one
Yes,
or two things.
yeah.
3, 5, 6, 8. You manoeuvre through the melee, dodging around Braxton and other Orcwomen. Then you break away from the fray, sprinting towards the Great Oak, hoping to put enough range between yourself and the bandits so that you can attack from relative safety. Yeah, for me, relative safety. If you have agility skill or athletic skill, I have both of those. I'll be doing 5, 4, 1, 4. Apparently, this was a
Nice.
good one for me to be doing.
Yeah, perfect.
I should point out that I sleep in the nude, so
Okay.
so I have stayed in my little sleeping blanket and I just chucked it there and I'm like, yeah, carry on.
The bandit gives chase, but you're too quick for him. You sprint away until you have enough distance to deal with the bandit at your leisure. Now it's back to purple options again, so that means somebody else does it.
So somebody's making a choice that has an activated thing.
I guess we've collectively run
Yes.
into the woods at this point.
So if you can lose an arrow at your pursuer, but that does require something else having archery. You can harass them with your throwing knives, requires thievery.
Oh yes, I've got a couple of throwing knives on
Or
me.
incapacitate the bandit with runic magic, requires arcana. Leave you arcana about.
Throw some daggers.
Yeah, let's
I
get the
think
daggers
you'll be
out.
going
Yes,
from the
yes.
shadows.
We'll get activated again.
Oh yes, that's right, they'll flip out.
Yes.
You draw a set of small throwing knives and send one to pierce your pursuer's thigh. The man shrieks and stumbles. A second thrown blade strikes his forearm, sending his mace tumbling to the ground. The bandit roars and charges at you again, his sharpened hook glinting in the firelight. But you fling a third knife to slice across the side of his face. This causes him to slow his charge, and you draw 3 more throwing knives and fan them threateningly. His eyes morph from anger to fear, and he turns and flees into the woods.
I suggest the centre of the face next time.
Okay. You find yourself standing in a loose circle with your companions and no bandits close at hand. Even more of the enemy emerge from the trees, however, and they begin to surround you. What now? Breathes Mariam. You're sure it's the first time you've heard fear in her voice. The bandit's leader chuckles and speaks, causing the firelight to play off the long scar on the side of his face in a sinister way. Drop your valuables and leave. There is no need for you to die here. The other bandits hoot and howl and brandish their blades and axes in the air in front of you. Braxton glances sideways at you. There are too many of them. We cannot win this fight. She edges backward, and you notice her lean in the direction of Dragonholt. You can't have my gold! I'll be using it to start my business! Hisses Mariam. Despite the bite in her words, you notice her hands trembling. So options. We can fend off the bandits long enough for the others to escape. We need brawling, dueling, we've got everything now, haven't
Yeah.
we?
Yes, yes.
We can create a diversion and flee toward Dragonholt. We can create a smoke screen and escape toward Dragonholt. Or we can just turn tail and run.
Smoke bomb!
Yeah.
I am tempted this way. I would like to be reckless and duel, but I do believe smoke one is a much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that we're not aware that we don't have awareness.
Alright. 9495.
He's quite handy, this alchemist, isn't he?
Yes.
He sleeps too much though. I'm a cat.
You can't talk.
You smash a vial on the ground, releasing thick clouds of billowing smoke. I'll add injury to that insult, shouts Mariam. She tosses 2 handfuls of pellets into the smoke cloud. You notice the pellets change shape as they land, 4 triangular barbs protruding from each pellet like so many caltrops. That'll slow him down. The smoke soon obscures you and your companions, and you escape in the direction of Dragonholt. They can't have gone far, bellows the bandit leader. Find them! 3, 6, 4, 5.
All right.
Hope someone's got step.
Yep, I'm there.
You run through the eventide forest, scrambling and stumbling as you go. You're surprised, Scarlet, you can see, and you realise the sun must already be rising somewhere beyond the trees. Time passes.
Okay.
Why do I get the impression of you in like a sack race?
Yeah. Hopping along. The narrow and twisting path soon comes to a steep climb with a rocky outcropping that rises above on either side. A large standing stone towers to your right. You can hear the bandits still coming behind you, shouting to their fellows like hounds on the hunt, but any pursuer will have to scramble up this same narrow gulch. Tip over the standing stone to block the path. Fire with your bow from the high ground. Set a trap for the approaching bandits. So the first one requires nothing. We've obviously got archery for firing a bow or survival for setting a trap.
I like the idea of tipping over the stone.
Yeah, I quite like that as a...
Straightforward.
Sure.
Effective.
Survival. Oh no, tipping over the stone's no skill.
Yeah.
I just want to go for the just block the path.
It's right there.
Okay.
Make
Who
use of
wants
it.
That was... I activated the last one. Who wants to do this?
We need somebody big and
yeah,
strong.
I think that's my job.
There you go.
But maybe laying a trap would be include the stone. So in this case, if you're going to use the person who can already do...
Well, Chantal, what would you like to do? Because you're the one with the skill.
Well, I kind of think like we're all in panic, and I just see the stone, so I just crush it. Like, don't have much time to think, I think. And if I did, I don't think I would do much better. 25, 33. Straining and grunting. That's exactly me. You push against the standing stone, getting nowhere. Ooh. Together, says Braxton, stepping forward and placing her shoulder to the rock. The stone grudgingly begins to give away, but the task is physically draining. You do not have athletics or endurance. You lose 2 stamina, but I do have endurance, so that's fine.
Yay.
As the bandits come roaring up the gulch, you push as one, and the standing stone picks up alarming speed, falling with a crash that crushes several bandits, while others skid to a stop.
Nice.
Yeah.
Read entry 5129. With the bandits preoccupied by your efforts back at the gulch, you are able to gain a considerable lead on them. The rocky terrain continues to rise up around you, the trees of Eventide forest becoming smaller and scrappier as you go. Soon you come to a sheer cliff face, only a few scraggly trees clinging to the rocks rising above you. Sunlight spills across the sky above the cliff, a promise of freedom and safety. You could climb up to the top, but it would be a challenge. The path continues to the left a fair distance, then becomes a tight switchback crawling up to the top of the rise. It would be a safer route to the top, but slower than climbing directly. Do we climb the cliff face, or do we run for the switchback path?
Sorry, why are we trying to go up this hill again? Aren't we trying to go to Dragonholt?
Yeah, I think it's like this cliff is in our way. We've got to get up
We're just
to
gonna
the
go
top
over
of
it.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got to get over
So I'm
it.
guessing you would be quite good at climbing.
What have you got? Agility and athletics?
Yes, I'm
That seems like if we go for the climb one,
Yes.
with you on the activating, seems like it might be a good choice.
So you should probably choose the option.
I know, but then we
and
need
it
his
would-
skills, don't we?
No, because
it
if it's like
doesn't say, but
before,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know, when with
Oh,
those
if you
endurance,
have this.
if you have this,
Okay.
you otherwise lose some
Yeah,
stamina.
yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So that's
Well,
the choice.
I'm going
It's
to
whether you think it's going to be the next step or whether it will be built within that step.
Because if we go for the
got-
slower, more obvious path, I think
gotta
they're
go
going to
for
catch
the-
up.
I'm going to
with us.
spring as a
Yep.
Kip us away.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Which one is this?
So that was over there, and
Climb the cliff face, 4055. You scramble up the cliff face, relying on the trees that cling to the cracks in the rock for handholds. This proves unwise, as not all of the trees are anchored securely enough to bear your weight, and you find yourself dangling from your fingertips above the drop. Oh, claw, just... You each lose 2 stamina unless you have athletics.
Oh,
Damn it.
all right.
Oh, unless you have the athletics.
Oh.
Unless
Or
you
does
have
it say
athletics.
Unless you each have athletics.
Just you. Just
Oh, yeah.
says. I did have
So you've got
athletics.
it. We're fine. All right, great.
Mariam isn't making things any easier either, despite Braxton's efforts. I'll be fine, she huffs. I'm not the only one here who needs help. She says with a nod at you. In fairness, to the gnome, she's not dangling from her fingertips. Braxton makes her way over to you and helps you regain your footing. Test each foothold before you put weight on it, she says. You resume your climb, but you hear shouting below you. The bandits have reached the bottom of the cliff. They immediately begin pelting you with arrows and stones, making the rest of the climb a nightmare. You each lose 3 stamina, unless you have agility. I also have agility.
Yeah, we picked the right person.
But like you each this time.
I think they both said you each lose.
Okay.
Did you say you each?
They say they both say in this case you each lose 3 stamina unless you have agility.
Oh, so that is all of us.
I think it might be, yeah. I'm not
So that was the
sure
same
on
with the first
that
one. So everybody,
Yeah.
you're all going to lose 5 stamina except for me, who doesn't care.
That would make sense. I mean, we're all
I think
climbing
so.
up this
Yeah.
thing, aren't we? So 5 now. I hope we get to rest in the dragon.
I'm down to 2 stamina.
That's not
That
good.
seems
No.
perfectly correct.
I can lose
Yeah.
my history, I think, running away from bandits.
Yes,
It'll be
yeah.
alright.
To be fair, climbing while in a sack is not the
difficult.
easiest thing to do.
But damn it, I'm not dropping this sack.
Finally, you make it to the top, gasping for breath. You are safe from the bandits' arrows up here, but the bandits have already begun to climb up after you. So we've got some options.
All right.
Throw rocks at the bandits. Return fire with your bow. I can't do that, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Smash. Yeah.
We might not lose a stamina until
Okay.
until it matters.
We'll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it seems no advantage having the skill, but I don't know whether.
Yeah.
Smash a vial of alchemical fire on the cliff face. I wish you could, that would be great.
Yeah, but no.
Blast the cliff face with runic magic.
That's me as well.
So it looks like whoever's doing it, they are throwing rocks at the bandits. Which is
That's what I wanted to do. Yeah, anyway,
It'll be
it's fine.
The
8
rune's at the bottom of my sack somewhere, but I can't
Yeah.
get to it at the moment. I can now. You've made a choice.
You and your companions gather rocks and begin to hurl them down at the bandits below. Some of your rocks impact on arms and heads, but even the ones that miss knock others loose from the rocky terrain, causing small cascades of scree and gravel to pelt and harass your pursuers. Driven back by a steady assault of stones, and probably just as tired as you are, the bandits turn back and retreat into the forest. You have escaped! Hooray! You went through 9999.
Ooh.
Sorry,
That feels
99.
like
Yes.
we-
There's a lot of 9s. It feels like a good entry to
When you're
read.
reading that, I'm putting on my britches.
Okay. As the sun climbs above the trees, you continue your journey toward Dragonholt. At your new elevation, the trees are smaller and farther apart, and at some point you have passed an invisible barrier where you are not in a forest so much as a rocky plain with occasional trees. Dragonholt lies below you, and you can see the beacon tower rising above the trees, the sun climbing the sky behind it. You have less than an hour of walking before you. Time passes. It's our last time unit. I presume they've timed this.
Yeah, I
To
believe
arrive at
you're
the
always
end.
going to get.
So it's a nice indication of how far through you are, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
At length, you walk through an orchard, the twisted trees heavy with fruit and propped up by weathered boards and poles. Then you find yourself on Dragonholt's main street, walking beneath the dueling dragon statues that serve as the closest thing to a city gate. One dragon is carved from black stone, the other from white, and they arch across the street above you, not quite touching. Marvellous, breathes Braxton. Some sort of memorial of the Dragon Wars, says Mariam. This way, she says, and skips down the cobbled street as if she hadn't been woken in the middle of the night by bandits. You cross a crowded village green that is laid out before a garden shrine with a domed glass ceiling. In front of the shrine stands a marble spire, atop which burns a beacon fire. Then you pass a building, dark with soot and marred by broken windows. Mariam pauses at an intersection and peers down 2 side streets before nodding vigorously and leading the way south. We'll get a proper breakfast as soon as we find my aunt's inn, she says. It's called the Swan. Does it have a lovely white swan painted on its sign? Asks Braxton. Yes, it does, says Mariam. Then is that it, just there? She points and Mariam beams. That's it, let's go! She rushes off in a fresh burst of energy, leaving you stumbling along behind. When you finally reach the Swan, you find Mariam babbling excitedly to a gnome who looks almost exactly like her, plus 20 years. You must be Mariam's friends, says the older woman. I'm Mariam's aunt, Sapphire. It's good to meet you. She welcomes you inside and you step down into a blessedly cool, half-sunken common room where a scattering of thick oak tables and sturdy chairs lies beneath rafters strung with herbs and root vegetables. Thick iron lanterns rest on each table, none lit now, and light streams in from tall windows against the south wall. Please, have a seat, says your host, and you do. We made it, says Braxton, dropping heavily into a chair that creaks under her weight. I think I could sleep for a week. None of that, says Mariam. We have work to do. Braxton lifts her head and glares. Starting tomorrow, I guess. Let's all take today off. Mariam vanishes into a back room, then appears a few minutes later with a tray rattling with glass bottles of red liquid. Here, she says, and distributes the bottles. It's the least I can do for helping get me here safely. You gain 3 healing potions. Item A.
Between the group, I guess.
Distribute these potions amongst yourselves as you choose.
Healing potion. This liquid burns your throat like bitter fire, but quickly heals open wounds and broken bones. When you drink this potion, you recover half your maximum stamina.
I feel like...
I would think that I'm okay, and you can have each healing
I
potion.
think the gnome
I think David
needs it.
probably needs at least
I'm
one.
Yeah.
quite weak with regards to that.
Yes.
And I'm likely to
So
get...
if you take one, so we mark this on items, don't we?
So I've got
Mhm.
a healing potion.
I'm on 8, so shall I perhaps take one as well?
Yeah, go on.
All right, 1 times healing potion. Right, a little bit of rules text here that just explains what healing potions do. So we can drink them whenever we like, as long as you've got them. And you can only drink it, though, if your activation token's not been exhausted.
That's important.
Okay.
So just bear that in mind.
Mhm.
Sapphire returns a moment later with a larger tray overflowing with plates of yellow eggs, loaves of dark brown bread, and a tall pitcher of milk. I hope you'll stay at the Swan for as long as you like, she says. No charge, of course. Not after what you went through to get my Mariam here safely. Mariam pours everyone a glass of milk. She holds hers aloft and exclaims, To new roads! Braxton takes a glass, holds it up, and looks from Mariam to Sapphire to you. To new friends. The meal is amazing, and you soon collapse in rooms provided by your generous host. You doze through the majority of the day. After dinner, you rest in the common room, chatting idly with Braxton and another patron. Soon, the lack of a good night's sleep is too much and you retire to your room. You will have to explore Dragonholt on the morrow. So, we each get to recover half of your maximum stamina.
So I'm back up to max.
That's good, because
I
that
think
puts me
probably
to
'cause
max.
I think we shouldn't have lost the stamina thing.
Okay, we
I
can
think
do
the
a
idea-
rules check after
We'll
this,
do that.
can't we? You each recover 1 skill. Well, we hadn't lost any, so that's
That's fine,
good. You refresh your activation token.
Ooh.
Okay. You each gain 1 experience.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Experience. 1. I have experienced one thing.
I have experienced.
Your fame increases by 1.
Yeah,
Ooh.
fame's a
We're
group
working on
thing.
that sheet for the
So,
moment.
yes, it's on the back
We'll
of that.
get the group
Yeah,
stuff
With the
done
gold.
whenever-
So we have 100 gold as well.
Oh, that's right. So
It's on the- sorry,
not
the back
this
of
one.
the-
It's on the character creation, was it?
Oh no, this one.
Well, no, well, I'll get the sheet and we'll do it on that one.
All right. So yeah, we didn't mention at the start, but we do have lots of gold. At least Mariam, I think, has lots of gold. So collectively, we have 100 gold. Is that right?
We have 100 in our group, yeah.
And then
We have a fame.
fame. We have 1.
We have a fame and an experience.
That's right. People know us, maybe.
You're those people with
Yeah.
experience.
They might not like us very much at the moment. Some people know.
I think you've got some fame after all your exploding thing.
This quest is complete.
Huzzah!
Read entry 1001 in the Dragonholt Village book.
Oh.
Ooh.
Let's find the book.
That's a big book. I didn't think it was that big.
Yeah,
The
there's
Dragonholt Village book. Okay, it talks a bit about the tracking sheets that we just mentioned. And talks a bit about encounters. So entries in this book are grouped in a number of encounters. Encounter is a short collection of related entries. Once you begin an encounter, continue reading as normal until the encounter is complete. When reading this book, you don't exhaust your activation token. When you make a decision, and requirements on options can be filled by anybody. So, 1001?
Yes. I'm just wondering if this is a good time to stop. I don't know if that's about...
I'm assuming that'll tell you this is the end of the first.
Transition, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, this one goes on to another entry, but I think because this is an encounter, so I imagine it's a group of
Okay.
encounters.
I mean, it does say here at the end of this book, just after completing this quest is a great time to take a break.
Okay, so
You might wish to stop playing for now and pick it from here at a later date.
That's very kind.
So we just
Yes.
record the entry number in the book you've been directed to, so we just know that we've got to
Yeah,
get to
this
that
one suggests per chapter it's 30 to 50 minutes.
Okay.
So you do little ones in the town that then spawn to the ones on the outside
So
world,
the
and
other
you.
books.
That's kind of cool.
Yes,
As a nice.
All right.
Mhm.
So that was our first adventure in Legacy of Dragonholt to New Roads. Join us next time when we'll try and see what the town holds for us.
yes.
All right, thanks very much for watching.
Goodbye.
See you.
Bye.